What's up, family? It's your girl Esri. Today we're going to talk about 5 tips on how to choose a camera. So let's say you're ready to graduate from taking pictures on your phone and you're ready to really learn the craft and get into a new system. These 5 tips are ones that I recommend anybody who's buying a new camera, be it your first time or your 5th time. They're tips I wish I knew whenever I was getting into photography many years ago. So let's get into it. Tip number 1, buy a camera that's going to inspire you. You'll hear photographers all over the world talk about how their system is the best system, or Nikon is better than this, or Canon is better than this. But at the end of the day, if you're not buying something that's inspiring you to go out and shoot, it's just going to sit and collect dust. Cameras are a personal choice. They're like buying a car. You're going to love the way they feel, you're going to love the way they look, and you're going to hate the way that other cameras feel and look. I can't stand heavy camera systems. They make me not want to shoot. My Fuji, I absolutely love because it feels like an old school film camera. I get excited to shoot it. It brings me joy. So go for a system that you think you're really going to love and that's going to be attached to your hip, sometimes literally. Tip number 2, don't go expensive. I know we're programmed to think that the more money we spend, the better a system is. But the reality is you don't really need most of what cameras produce in terms of features and quality. For example, most full-frame cameras these days are about 50 megapixels. But if you're uploading your pictures to Instagram, they have a 2,000 pixel limit where they will literally re-encode your pictures down to 2,000 pixel width. So you're wasting tens and tens of megapixels and therefore thousands of dollars for a bunch of quality that you're not really going to be using. Now, if you're shooting a massive billboard or if you're shooting a massive poster, sure, you probably need a bigger system. But in those rare cases, number 1, I hope you're getting paid for it. Number 2, go rent something. You don't need to spend $10,000 on a system for that one shoot. That brings me to tip number 3. Buy a camera that you can grow with. What I mean by that is that you need a camera that can do manual exposure settings, and you need a camera that can fire a flash. So we're not really talking about the tiny point and shoot market. We're talking about DSLRs and mirrorless systems that have these features that you can use later on as your skill grows. You don't want to go out and spend money on a camera system that you're just going to scrap in a year because you've outgrown it. Okay, tip number 4, buy a camera for the photos you plan to shoot. If you're a landscape photographer or a portrait photographer or you're a videographer, look at the cameras that specialize in those features. Certain cameras are great with certain features. For example, Sony, bar none, is probably one of the better video cameras out there. That being said, if you love the Fuji, go buy the Fuji. But just make sure that you're getting something that has the base capabilities to shoot the photos that you want to shoot. Finally, tip number 5. Buy used. Look at Craigslist, look at eBay, go for last year's model. You really don't need a brand new camera. Cameras are really good at doing the things that they do well and doing it for decades. So for the past 15 years, the digital market has really blown up. And you can find a camera that's a couple years old for a really good price that you can literally shoot pro contracts with. So don't go out and buy the newest and latest and greatest camera if you don't have to. Especially during a pandemic when everybody's struggling. I'm sure there's a photographer out there who could use the money. So with that, let's talk about some of my favorite picks for cameras under $2,000. Now, I should warn you, I do love Fuji, so you hear a couple Fujifilm cameras in this, but I don't work for Fuji in any way. They don't sponsor me. I just really like their cameras, but I'm not only going to go over Fuji cameras, I promise. My budget pick for a starter camera for about $500 is going to be the Fujifilm X100F. Is it the F? Yeah, it's the F. The Fujifilm X100F is a small rangefinder type camera with a beautiful leaf shutter lens that can go all the way up to f2.0. If you don't know what any of that means, what it means is it's a really good lens that works really well with flashes and out on the street. The whole camera is pretty manual, so it's going to force you to learn some of those habits of working with the aperture, working with the ISO and the shutter speed. But That being said, it's really easy to learn on this camera. It has its own ND filters on the inside of the body for days that are too bright, and the sensor itself takes gorgeous 16 megapixel pictures. The only reason I'm not still shooting with it is because it was stolen out of my car. My favorite Pro system for about $1,000 is going to be this Fujifilm X Pro 2. You can get the bodies on eBay along with the lens for between $750 and $1,000 depending on which lens you go for, and it really is a pro system. It has 2 memory cards in case one goes bad, it has a sync cable, it has ways to hook up for HD video. I don't believe it does 4K, and we'll get into a camera that does in a moment, but it does take beautiful, beautiful pictures. Not just that, but you're going to be able to grow into a really great system with their XF series lenses. Highly, highly recommend it. I love mine so much that I still use it over my more expensive cameras. My winner for a full frame camera is the Sony Alpha Mark III. Sony Alpha Mark III, yeah, I got that right. Where Fujifilm is the Shelby Mustang of cameras, and it has that nostalgia fixture. It has that nostalgia feel. Sony has that Tesla feel. It's modern, it's sleek, it's a technological marvel. These full-frame cameras have really fast autofocus and perform beautifully in low-light situations. So if you're a sports photographer or event photographer, you're gonna love this camera. More so, they're famous for being some of the best on the market in terms of video. So if you want to go out and shoot a movie or a short film, this is a great, great camera to have. A quick warning, anytime you buy into full frame over crop sensor, you're going to be spending about double the cost on lenses. So keep that in mind. The Sony Alpha Mark III with a lens on eBay will run you about $2,000. And it's a great pro system, highly recommended if you need a pro system and you need that level of video editing and a full frame sensor. So that's it. I hope this helped you in buying your first camera or your 5th camera for that matter, or I hope that it was just a really good reminder on things to look for. Feel free to comment and ask questions down in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss another episode, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.